All right, y'all. Welcome back to Harry Man Talks, hosted by Harry Man. We have a special guest here. This guy, man, he's been my friend since high school. He's an Asian American content creator on YouTube. He's been documenting his fitness journey and his life, working with Chick Fil-A in corporate. He's involved in activities such as powerlifting and martial arts. And this guy, I just thought I'd bring him on. He's got a pretty interesting story. Welcome, Average Poe.
Appreciate you having me, man. Great introduction. Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk and catch up a little bit. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, man, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start like how we met. So we met at the YMCA, right?
Yeah, I think that was pretty because like we didn't really hang out during high school or like in school because we were different classes. So I think like just at the Y, just hooping and then we kind of just like hooping. We saw each other often, so just connected, started hanging out from there.
Yeah. Like I noticed like you would just be like shooting around,
Yeah.
like not really playing pickup, and I was kind of the same way because I was like didn't have like belief in myself that I was that good.
Mhm.
So I was like, yo, this dude's like just shooting and let me just go talk to him. But what was your first impression of me? Like,
It was a while ago, but I mean, I thought you were pretty cool. Like we were kind of in the same boat, like we were just pretty chill, we were just shooting around, hooping, and then like it just started from there, basketball, brings like people together, whether it's like the debates of like who's the greatest or whatnot, just playing pickup, stuff like that. So it's just like it kind of like organically, just happened.
yeah,
So we were just like hooping together, hanging out, stuff like that.
facts. Do you still hoop or?
Nah, man, I'm retired. I'm done. I'm so bad. I play like a lot in college, and then after college, like joined like a few adult leagues, and then I was like, well, I can't compete with these guys. Like it's not for me anymore. So I just kind of stopped, did other stuff. So
You should hoop, bro. It's like because you're more fit now. So
I'm still bad, man. The shot is broke. The shot is so broke right now.
it just takes a few months to get back to it. Like,
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's just like there's not a lot of good like places to go around here. Like I was like looking at gyms to see like basketball courts and whatnot. It's not like in Charlotte where you got like the Y and like a few other gyms and whatnot. It's not really in Atlanta, like downtown, there's not really a bunch of places like that. There's like outdoor parks, but I mean other than that, really
yeah,
not nothing much.
facts.
Yeah.
So like we kind of went separate ways after high school. Um,
Yeah.
you went to, I believe it was Alabama for college.
Yes, sir.
So like what was that like your college journey, and then like after like what was that like? Like,
Yeah, I mean, college, it was like I talked about it in my video, but basically, like I had no idea what I wanted to do outside of like high school. Like I didn't care about school at all. I was just there, like, just trying to pass and whatnot. And then my dad was the one who was like, why don't you just become a pharmacist, go the traditional route, Asian American route and whatnot. So I was like, they make good money, why not? So I found a school in Birmingham, Alabama. I got a good scholarship from them, so I said, why not? And then after a year, I realized I just hated it. It was just awful. And then just bouncing around here and there with different kind of majors and whatnot. And then I finished with a finance degree and then with a data analyst concentration, went towards the finance route. After 2 months, I quit because I hated it. And then at that point, I was like, well, shoot, like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, I just graduated. I thought I had everything figured out, had no idea. So that's when I started working at a Chick-fil-A at the mall because one of my buddies, he was like the lead director there and they needed help. So during those 4 weeks, I was kind of like figuring out what do I want to do. I definitely don't want to stay here. What do I see myself doing 5, 10 years from now? That's when I dove into the data analytics concentration. I got a job at a brokerage agency, and then I kind of figured, I wanted to get better at this because I enjoyed it. And then that's when I started to get my master's as well. And then now I'm working for Chick Fil-A corporate, which is wild to think.
That's awesome. Did they
Yeah.
like really consider that you had a master's? Like, did that play a big part?
Yeah, I think that was really a big part because the role I was getting into, like every role that like companies want, they always say like, oh, we want 5, 10 years, something like that. But, coming out of college, I didn't really have that much experience. Even with my brokerage agency, I was only working for like maybe a year. So that's when I kind of like buckled down and realized, in order to kind of compete with everybody else who got their undergrad degree in the data analytics or some sort of like data field, and I only had a concentration in it, which was only like a few semesters. What can I do to kind of play a little bit of catch up and have a little advantage over them? And like I said, I hated school. School was not for me. I wasn't good at it, but I knew getting this master's would put me at that level, that next step. So I kind of said, just why not? Went through Syracuse, their online program. I was able to finish in a year, which I was happy about. And yeah, that really helped out, I think, a lot because they saw that I finished so quick. And then I also had a part-time job as a data analyst for a marketing firm at the same time while doing the full-time job and master's. So like I did all of that in kind of like a year or so, but yeah, it just helped out with the kind of application and the getting the job.
So during that time where you were working and doing the degree and the
Mhm.
master's, and you were, I'm just gonna be blunt, you were fat, right? You had gotten way more fatter than you
Oh
were.
yeah, man. I was big. Like you thought I was big when we like first met. I was like after yeah, like after college, because like I wasn't really working out, I was just hooping, but just hooping for fun and whatnot. And then when I went to my buddy's wedding, I was in the party, and during the when I was in college, like I was like a 36, the heaviest was like 38 waist. So I got like a 36 waist for like the pants, and then it was like a few weeks out of the wedding. I tried them on and they didn't fit. And I had to go back to the store and I had to get like a 40 or 42 waist. And kind of at that point, I was like, wow, I like that was kind of like the starting point where I realized like, man, I kind of let myself go. And then also like a few weeks, like months go by and I was just not happy with where I was. I wasn't happy with how I looked, how I felt, my job situation at that time. So rather than kind of, um, settling for what I was at the time, I decided just to make a big change because I just had a lot of time on my hands. You know, all of my kind of friends had like either relationships or getting married, having kids. Like I was just like by myself living on my own. So I thought, why not dedicate a full year kind of to myself? That's when I started working out, getting my master's, and just like applying for different jobs and whatnot. So I was just kind of working and grinding there at that time.
Mm. But how did you get so like was it just overeating? Like,
Yeah, man, it was just like overeating, and it's like at a certain like I love food, like I'm a big foodie, so it just naturally happened, and food like makes me happy.
oh, you cut off. I think the mic might have cut off.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Mm.
hopefully this doesn't die, but but yeah, it was to a point where like it would be 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't even be hungry. I would just be bored, and then just go out and get like fast food and whatnot, which was not good. So it's just like it just made me happy. It was just like a terrible habit to have, and I just didn't really think about it at all, and it just kind of caught up to me. But luckily, I was able to kind of recognize that in the end, and then make a change.
That's awesome. And you said like mentally, how were you like when you were that fat? Like,
Mentally, it was rough, man. It was like I was definitely depressed because I just didn't feel good. I wasn't confident. in myself. And like I said, like I was looking at other people who, were in relationships, they had like a happy life, like a good job, things like that, and I just didn't have any of those things. But
Mm.
rather than, kind of playing victim and saying like, "Oh, why is this happening to me?" I kind of took full accountability and said, the reason I'm at this point in my life is because, I made those decisions, but I can still change that around, change my lifestyle and, live a happier life. So the gym was a big first step because, being a big kid or big guy during that time, the gym is a little bit, it's not it's not the most friendly when you're first starting out, but once you get into it, like you see all the kind of stereotypes and like videos, what it's like nothing like that. Everybody's super welcoming, everybody's willing to help out. So the gym was like the first step in building my confidence and kind of changing my life.
Yeah, because I remember like I had just gotten into the gym like around my senior or junior year, and I would like try to tell you to like, oh, come, because I stopped hooping really, and I would tell you like, oh, come up to the gym.
Yeah, I know, I know. I miss
Wanted,
those days. I miss that opportunity.
yeah, but like you talked about like basically, my question is it okay to be fat?
Is it okay to be fed? It depends. It depends on the person because for me, no, because I knew how it was destroying me. I knew that it was ruining my life, my, confidence, I just wasn't happy and I was just super lazy and whatnot. But, some people, if you can live with that and you're happy in the state that you are and you're comfortable, that's fine. Like analogy I always say is like go back to like my friends who are married and happy and whatnot, I don't want to be married or in a relationship right now because I'm not ready for that change. So hopefully that makes sense. Like health wise, being fat is not good, obviously. But I mean everybody's different, like I can't tell you what to do. Just for me being fat, I knew it was detrimental to my health and to my life, so that's why I made a change.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of the happy thing, I think it's all um because like you when you get married, that doesn't necessarily mean it's kind of you're happy for that moment and
Hmm.
like um depending on who your partner is,
Yeah.
happy during certain times, but there's going to be ups and downs, and that
Yeah.
that won't determine your happiness. Like
Hmm.
when I talk about happiness to people, I'm like contentment is really happiness,
Yeah.
being grateful.
Yeah. 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 I totally agree with that. Yeah. Everybody's just different. I'm just not ready for that right now. Not ready to settle down. Everybody in the South like is getting like married young. I knew people like who are juniors in college already getting married, and I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do for the rest of my life, and you guys are already getting married, and it's like that's wild. But again, everybody's different. Everybody grew up different and whatnot. So,
I mean, I would encourage getting married young, but at the same time, I think a man should have his purpose
hmm.
set before he decides to bring in a woman and have kids.
Yeah, that's kind of my biggest thing. It's like I don't want to get married or be in a relationship until like I'm fully satisfied in my life. That might be a little selfish to say, but at the same time, I want to better myself and reach my full potential in order to take care of, my loved ones, whether it be my family, my new family, my friends, things like that. So that's kind of like the mentality I have as of right now. Because I did have a girlfriend when I was kind of at my like heaviest. I wasn't making that much money. Like I didn't really enjoy my life, and it was just like that was just really bringing the whole relationship down. Because like she was going through some things, I was going through some things, and it was just like we just needed things like we needed to work our own things, apart so that we can grow and build. And then, yeah.
So, what got you into powerlifting? Was it like guys like Bart Kwan or
Guys like you, man.
oh
Guys like you. I mean, I was watching your videos and like the powerlifting stuff like got me hyped, but it was just yeah, at first it was just going in the gym, just like testing things out and whatnot. And yeah, like I was watching like the Bart Kwans, the very like OG like powerlifting guys like Silent Mike, and that kind of just like intrigued me because at first on my journey I wanted to build strength first and then work on my physique because I didn't want to be like I look super jacked, but I can't even bench like 225, you know. So that's when I kind of started. I was focusing more on that. That's when I competed my first powerlifting meet this year, February, which was a blast. So I love it, man. It's fun. It's really fun.
And I think it's great that aside from lifting weights, you do jujitsu
Yeah.
because it's more functional and like, it's like cardiovascular, like you're not just lifting weights and then just for vanity or like just to like bench press, like
Yeah.
press is benefits, to it, muscle bone density and strength, but at the same time, like when are you gonna like have to push a bar off your chest? Like jujitsu is like very like it can be used if and when.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I love it. And like I grew up like doing martial arts. I was like grew up doing taekwondo. That was my first sport. I'm a third degree black belt when I was in high school, and then kind of lost the passion in college. And then when I was moving to Atlanta, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm not gonna know anybody here really. Like, what can I do to kind of make friends, meet people? And I knew going to like an MMA gym to lift and get back into martial arts because I wanted to get back. You know, that'd be a good introduction. And jujitsu, I never done it before and it was completely new to me, so I just wanted to give it a try and I absolutely love it. It's basically like physical chess. You don't have to be the strongest, you don't have to be the fastest person on the mat. As long as you know what you're doing, you have good technique, then you can submit anybody. And I always tell people like martial arts is such a humbling sport, and you're not going to get anybody cocky or anybody's going to want to beat you up. Everybody's super friendly, everybody's super welcoming, and that's what I enjoy the most. And also it's just a big accountability thing because like I said in like other videos, like basketball, like team sports, the reason I kind of like went away from it is because it doesn't matter how well you're doing, if your other teammates are not doing great or they suck, then you're gonna lose the game. With jujitsu or any type of martial arts, you are, if you get submitted, if you get knocked out, anything like that, it is your fault. You made a mistake. So that's a big thing. Like accountability is such a big thing for me, and I just love that it's a big emphasis in the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar with like boxing, like
Yeah,
that other guy, if you give up, it's on you.
exactly.
That's awesome. But like with content creation, like I know you work a job, 9 to 5 or day job.
Mhm.
What made you like decide, okay, I'm gonna create content, and like were you inspired or like what happened with there?
Yeah, so content creation was something I always wanted to do when I was young, but again, I didn't like when I was growing up watching YouTube, that was when everybody was doing the skits. They were having like the high production, film sets and whatnot. And, I was a kid, I was in my teens. I didn't really have the money or creativity for that. And then going into college and whatnot, going through my different paths, so going through different majors, not knowing what I want to do. And then finally being in a happy point, changing my life, working out, getting a better job. People were kind of asking me kind of questions like, "Oh, how are you able to do this?" Or kind of like, "What made you?"
Oh, you cut off.
Is that better?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, hopefully it doesn't do that again, but it probably will.
No,
Where did it cut off at?
um, I don't even remember. It's like just a few seconds ago when I said it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the whole just content creation. I just wanted to share people my message and what I've gone through because like content creators nowadays, they're at like their peak right now and it's kind of hard to relate. That's why I thought to myself, I'm just your average guy, your average and I wanted to share my story and say that, you don't have to come from a big background, or you don't have to come from like riches. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Is like as long as you're dedicated and willing to work hard, you can accomplish anything. So wanted to kind of document my kind of journey with others so people can relate and hopefully get inspired.
That's awesome, yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate, like especially Asian Americans watching you and
Yeah.
people that have been heavy and now they're trying to lose that weight, you could be that inspiration for people.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. We'll see.
But like, do you have any content creators you want to collab with or
Yeah, I mean, I have a few. One is Larry Gao. He kind of got me into like the Young LA brand. Like looked up on his story and kind of how he got into fitness and whatnot. Super humble guy. Um, I DM'd him saying like, "Oh, I bought Young LA clothes using your code," and then he DM'd me back saying like, "Oh, I appreciate that." Like to him, it probably doesn't mean anything, but for me, I was like, "Oh shoot, like that's crazy." Like he was the one of the biggest guys that I started following in the beginning. But like him, obviously like Bart Kwan, a few like powerlifters, like jujitsu guys, I got a list, but hopefully one day. I gotta get bigger. I gotta get bigger before I get those collabs.
you watch Just Kidding News?
I used to a lot, but then I don't know what happened. There's like a lot of things going on with Just Kidding News, but I do love those guys. Like them, like Tim Chantarantsu. Hopefully I said his name right. Like those guys that I like looked up growing up, like as other kind of Asian um Americans, because I didn't have like that much growing up on like TV or movies and whatnot. So like YouTube was kind of the space for anybody to kind of share their message. So those were the guys that I kind of looked up to growing up.
Hey, bro, if you get on Just Kidding News, just tell them about me.
I will. You could be on with me. We could go in together.
Going together, facts.
Yes, sir.
The only thing is they make a lot of like crude jokes, which I
Yeah,
love.
it's
But like
it's
I don't
all
know,
it's all over the place.
yeah, like I don't know if my brand would. I'd have to tell them like beforehand, like.
Yeah,
But I mean, I laugh. They're hilarious, bro. Like,
yeah, they're funny, man.
um, have you always been like? Are you introverted or extroverted? Like, how would you describe yourself? Like,
I'm pretty introverted. I'm introverted and extroverted in some areas. I'm introverted like in public and whatnot. Like I don't really talk to people, come up to people, but I'm extroverted when I know somebody or I'm in like the right setting. But like with you, like a good example, when you came up to me, that was like very organic and natural. And then we started bonding, and then that's when I was like showing more of my true self. So like instances like that, I could become introverted to extroverted. But usually I keep to myself. Like when I go to the gym, I'm just to myself unless somebody comes up and talks to me, or if I'm rolling with somebody, I get to know them better like that and we get close. But
yeah.
other than that, pretty introverted.
Hmm. So, I just have a few more questions and then we'll end it. Keep it short. I think the next podcast we could do could be in person and we
Yeah,
can make
man.
it longer. But what are some of your goals for the future, just in general?
Goals in general. Let's see. I mean, I want to try this whole content creation. That's why I was doing the 75 hard challenge
Mm.
and documenting the whole process just to force myself to post something um every day because I was posting once every Sunday, which was fine, but that's not gonna spread to, a ton of people to a broader audience. So I want to do well with the content creation and really give it my all and kind of push push past like kind of my limits and see where I can go with that. Also kind of physical wise, definitely want to do more powerlifting competitions. I have one in August coming up and two goals for that is get to a lower weight class and then reach the 1,000 pound club in competition. So doing that also, I would love to compete in jujitsu Just got to get better at that, and then hopefully like a life goal would to be like an actual like sanctioned fight. So like a full like MMA fight. Like I would love to do that, but that would be a lot of training, a lot of dedication. So we'll see if that ever happens.
Nah, anything's possible. You put your mind to it.
Yeah, but I don't like getting my face hit. So I don't know if that
Yeah,
we'll see
jiu-jitsu.
about that.
Mm. So like my last question is what is your why?
My why? That's a good question.
Like why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you do what you do? Why do you train? Like
I think it's just because I recognize where I was before. Like even a year or so ago, I realized like, man, I'm just wasting so much potential. And where I was like being fat, working like a simple job, whatever. Like I love working at the Chick Fil-A restaurant. Like I wouldn't mind just working there forever. But it's like when I'm going to have a family, providing for them, providing for my current family, even providing for my friends, I can't be comfortable in the state I'm in. So I always tell myself I gotta get better every single day. If I'm a little bit better, whether it's physically, mentally, or spiritually, every day, then that's just a huge accomplishment. And seeing how much I've changed in a year shows that, I can do this,
yeah,
doesn't matter. I know I started late and working out, things like that, but I just got to play a little bit of catch up, but I could still reach, the goals that everybody else has. So, just trying to look out for the future me and just being in the happier and better kind of life.
I mean, that's awesome that you want to have a family and wife and kids because a lot of
Yeah.
people now are just like getting rid of the family unit, and I think that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I want a family, eventually, not anytime soon, but we'll see.
it's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah, and we can link up in Atlanta,
Mhm.
get some lifting in,
Yes,
maybe
sir.
1v1.
Yeah. I'll show you could come to my jujitsu gym. You could roll with us for a little bit if you want.
Yeah, I wanted like there's some guys here in my
Yeah.
mosque that do jiu-jitsu. I'm kind of nervous about it. Like I'm not gonna I need to like face my fear with it.
Yeah, man. It's so much fun. As soon as you like step on the mat, like everybody's so nice, and then it's just so addicting because like you just want to get so better at it,
Yeah,
and you're gonna have a good time for sure.
thanks.
Yeah,
We'll
man.
make a plan. But guys, you can check out Average Poe. I'm gonna link his Instagram and YouTube. He's gonna be posting a lot of content. Also, follow me at Harryman Inc. or Harryman.inc on Instagram and to stay updated with all my content. And yeah,
Appreciate it, man. Good talk.
peace, yo.